So we're about almost in week 3. End of week 3 of my time in Indonesia. Okay, so at this point, I'm like, I've got to have an outlet. Okay, I joined a Gold's Gym, which is like right down the street from me. It's really nice. I mean, it's like I never thought I would join a Gold's Gym in my life. I used to talk so much smack about that gym when I lived in California. But it's really nice and it's very modern and it's really cool. So I joined because I was just trying to find some normalcy. So I joined the gym. I wanted to, keep working out. I wanted to start, cooking in my apartment and everything because I've been going like to the same like 3 restaurants because those were the only places that I could find, like fresh vegetables and some protein or whatever. And what's interesting is, people think people in Indonesia, for some reason, eat really healthy. I mean, in Bali, you can find amazing food, organic, raw, and just, really good cuisine. In Jakarta, they love their fried food and they fry it, refry it in grease and stuff. And I try and stay away from fried foods in general. And they're really into fast food here. I mean, a lot of American fast food chains are here. And I mean, Pizza Hut, Wendy's will be packed, packed like it's, I don't even know, like, I don't know, it's like it's Olive Garden or, like Bennigan. I don't even know if Bennigan's is even still around, but like restaurants like that, like Applebee's, like that's how it's like Wendy's and Pizza Hut and like those places. I mean, of course, it's like different from American, those places, but yeah, I wasn't, I'm not into that. Excuse me. Okay. So at this point, I have been I started off, with my blog and posting things and everything. I had a nice little momentum going. Then when I started teaching, it was like work, work, work. And then by the time I would get home, I would be so tired. I wasn't seeing any of the culture. I didn't even know what I should be looking for. SKB did not care. It wasn't like he was, if it was America, and somebody was coming to do something for me, I'm taking them by my family's house. I'm taking them to, some kind of tourist attraction. I'm not saying I got to be doing this every day because I'm going to be here for a while, but, I would expose them to the culture, the food, whatever. No, he wasn't doing any of that. So, yeah, I ended up deciding to take matters in my own hands, and I decided to reach out to some people. So I reached out to this woman named Diana. She's another blogger. She's a Jamaican woman. She used to live in New York City, and she's been living in Jakarta for, I think, since like February. Met her through another blogger acquaintance. So we had been in contact for a few months. So she was like, hey, why don't you come down? We'll go down to Kamang, which is like this hot spot where a lot of expats are. We're going to go to this bar and restaurant, and we're going to watch the Olympics. And I was like, oh, that sounds so much fun. I can wear my red, white, and blue, represent the USA. She's going to be all about Jamaica and the track and field. And, I'm sure there's going to be more expats there, repping their country too. It sounded like so much fun. I was looking forward to going to this for, like a week. And then there's a national holiday coming up in a few days, where pretty much the city shuts down for 2 weeks. People go back to their villages. It's like their Independence Day. And so this was going to be my opportunity to go to Bali because, when I got back, it's I would be, working until, maybe closer to the Christmas season. So I was like, okay, I want to go to Bali. And so I asked Diana, if she was heading up there. And she's like, oh, yeah, me and one of my girls is coming to visit. Why don't you go with us? And I was like, okay, that's cool. Now, mind you, I hadn't met her in person yet, but we, had been on Facebook for several months, talking and everything. And she's, I heard she was very nice. So I was like, oh, I love that. Thank you so much. So I didn't tell SKB originally, but I did mention it to him because I was like, oh, I'm going to be gone, or, I got that 2 weeks off. And, people, and like I said, the city shuts down. The city shuts down. So I didn't even know, if it was going to even be worth going to other little, day trips because they say like there's some day trips that might take 3 hours to get to, but during this national holiday when everyone leaves to go back to their villages, and because transportation is so horrible here, that it could take like 3 days to get to like a day trip. So it wasn't even like there was like an option to just go somewhere close. It's almost like if you were going to vacation, you need to be somewhere where you can get on a plane. So I was like, oh, Bali's perfect. It's an hour away, you know? Mention it to him. He's the one who used to dangle this carrot about Bali, you know, in the United States when I was talking about coming to Indonesia. And in fact, I have an email where he's like, oh yeah, you know, come, we'll go to Bali together. You can come with my family and yada, yada, yada. Lies, y'all. All lies. So I mentioned to him about Bali. I'm like, hey, yeah, I'm thinking about going to Bali for a few days. He's like, no, 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 you shouldn't go to Bali. It's gonna be very, very bad. It's gonna be very, very bad when you go there. So many people. It's not gonna be worth it. Oh, they're gonna jack up the price, and so many people. No, no. Don't go to Bali. There's a water park like an hour or two away. Go there. Go there. Now, wait a minute. Time out. Time out. Anyone who knows anything about Indonesia knows Bali is like the sacred gem of the country. You know, I mean, like everybody loves Bali. Everyone knows it's this beautiful, mystical, magical, spiritual, wonderful, beautiful place in the world. You know, it's like one of the top destinations, you know, in Condé Nast, one of the top destinations period. You know, like freaking Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis were just there like a week ago, literally. You know, like everybody vacations there. You know, like it's a big deal. I mean, it's like a completely international place too. So I knew red. I mean, if there was, I mean, there were red flags, but I mean, this was like red paint in the face. Like, you're really trying to hate on Bali during my vacation time. And I mean, I'm paying for it. You're not paying for it. What? You know, like, and you're talking to a yogi. Bali is like the place to be, you know? So then I'm like, okay, mental note, he's crazy. I'm going to Bali, you know, so I never mentioned it to him again. Second thing that happens, I send him a message and I say, what's the best way to get to this bar for this Olympic viewing? You know, like here I haven't been out with any friends. I haven't met anybody since I've been here except him, you know, and working. And it's not like he hasn't taken me out for any fun. Or even like, you know, inviting me over to his house for dinner or like, you know, I've met his wife, like we had lunch together. You know, I was like open to giving her yoga classes, you know, just trying to like make a connection with somebody. And then it's like he's constantly like, you can't trust anybody in Jakarta. Don't trust anyone. You can't trust anybody. People lie here, you know, and just kind of, and I mean, it's true. You can't trust me. You can't trust a lot of people here, and people do lie here, which will be a whole other blog about the expat life, about, you know, you're trying to be about that expat life, you know, that's great. And there's some things that you need to know, but it was like creating this kind of like bubble, you know, where it's like, okay, don't trust anyone, but you kind of have to trust someone at some point. So anyway, I was like, yeah, you know, what's the best way to get to southern Jakarta, you know, by taxi, or can I take your driver for the day? Because, you know, because sometimes he would offer his driver. No response. He never responded. So then I'm starting to remember when I did this training at the Institute of Domestic Violence for African Americans in Minnesota. I received a fellowship, and my best friend, Sissy Kimi Hawkins, Dr. Kimi Hawkins now, because she just got her PhD, she was one of the facilitators for this organization. And we had actually gone to like Queens, New York. That's where the convention was. And like Kimi got to be on this panel, and it was this whole thing about hip hop and domestic violence. And I got to go through all these like trainings, and it was like really revolutionary and like really amazing. And like Kevin Powell was there, and like Asha Bindali of Essence, and like, you know, I think Sway from MTV, he was there. It was just like a bunch of people, and it was like all about like hip hop. Byron Hurt, like if you've ever seen his documentaries, Anyway, long story short, I remember they gave these warning signs about abusers. And it's like people who try and control you, people who try and isolate you, people who like try and confuse you, lie, give this misinformation, kind of like put you down, all these things. And I really started to feel like, oh my God, I am like around an abuser. I mean, it may not be like physical, but definitely there were like these like very glaring signs that something was like this. No, this is not a good, like, you need to get yourself out of this situation. Thank God I'm a strong woman.